Welcome Amakhosi Network, welcome to the channel. Today we do player ratings of the Kaizer Chiefs players versus Sundowns, and also we also touch on some things that you guys have been criticizing me on. But before we get into that, please like, comment and subscribe. So the criticism I've got from you guys about yesterday's video is a lot of you were saying it was harsh. A lot of you were saying no, but Kaizer Chiefs played so well. Kaizer Chiefs basically had the better chances. Kaizer Chiefs gave a good account for themselves. Right? And I agree with all of you guys and what you are saying. But my problem is this. My problem is every time we play a Sundowns and a Pirates, it's always the same story. We play well, but we don't win. And that's the thing. We are getting used to Chiefs putting up good performances, but not winning. It's becoming a norm for us as Chiefs supporters. We always know that we're going to give a good account of ourselves, but we won't beat these guys. The only team we tend to beat is Stellenbosch, but the rest we never beat. Like Pirates, we struggle to beat Pirates. We struggle to beat Sundowns, but whenever we play these guys, except for the 4-0 loss that we had recently in the Carling Cup, whenever we play Sundowns, we tend to always have a good performance. And sometimes it's maybe the ref robbing us or whatever the case may be. But the end of the day, we don't win that game. So I always say I think the best way I can put it is we tend to lie to ourselves. And a lot of you are now feeling good that Chiefs had a good performance. But what I'm saying is that, but this feeling good or feeling good, whatever, when it's not coming with the numbers, it doesn't help us because we didn't win yesterday's game. And now we are sitting number 8 on the log. And there are other teams that could still jump over us. We don't know. But we are sitting number 8. And you know what's the scary part about this that I think a lot of people aren't realizing? When the season started, I think Amazulu had at some point like 0 points in like 5 games or something like that. They had lost almost every game. But now that same Amazulu is ahead of us on the log. And I was checking the game now. They are leading Cape Town City. So what I'm trying to highlight in this moment is that we have a team that I think is a top 6 team. We're not a top 3 team. I think we are a top 6 team. But right now we are playing like a top 10 team. We are not even playing like a top 6 team. We are playing like a top 10. Why am I saying that? A lot of people, when the season started, a lot of people were saying, from Nabi, they expect Chiefs to finish number 3 or us to at least play cat football. I was like, that will never happen. Unless there's a whole squad overhaul. If there's no squad overhaul, like serious. When we say squad overhaul, we mean like 10 to 20 players who are starting lineup players and who are quality. That will get you into top 3. But if you don't have that, it's almost impossible. So for me, I said a good finish for Chiefs this season is position number 5, or at maybe even better is position 4. But between 4 and 6, that was a position I thought was good enough for Anabi first season as a rebuild. But obviously, it will all depend on if he was able to get quality players. If he was able to get quality players, then we would maybe change it to be higher. But we know the players he has. But no one can tell me that teams like Amazulu, etc., are better than us. That part I can't agree. But let's get into this ratings. Vuma really was not tested by Sundowns. The goal that he conceded, you know what? It was just a good shot. I know he conceded it at the near post and all of those things, but you know what? There are certain shots that you concede in the near post or you sometimes don't get to save in the near post, and I feel like that was one of them. Unfortunately, it just had to be that good, and yeah, I can't fault him on that. The only thing I can fault him on is when he gave Tebogo Mokoena a chance, when Tebogo Mokoena was not even meant to get that chance, where he did the same mistake he did against SuperSport. SuperSport punished us. today Mukwena didn't punish us because Mukwena hit it on target, yes, but luckily Vuma got to save the second shot. So Vuma, I'm going to give a 5.5. Didn't have much to do, but when he was called upon, yeah, it just wasn't looking good. But anyway, Dove. Edmondson Dove, I'm going to give a 6.5. Good return. I was happy that our left back was looking so much better with him there. And I think if there's one thing I want him to carry on doing that he did in the game against Sundowns is not to go up. Edmondson Dove is going to get injured if he goes high up and wants to join the attack. I'd rather him sit at the back. I think that's where he can stay and not get injured. As long as he just sits in the back four, that will be good for us. It will be like the Ditlokwe setup. If he just continues like how we were playing with Ditlokwe, not going up, almost playing like a third center back at times, I think that's a good position. So I'm going to give him that. Dudley also wasn't troubled. A lot of people seem to blame Dudley for the goal. Yes, he could have done something, but the thing is that either way, if Dudley got left, Reynolds is faster than Dudley. So Reynolds was always going to get to the ball on time. The issue is that could Dudley have closed him down on time, etc. And that part I get. But my problem is when Dudley leaves his position, who goes and slots into his position to cover him? And that's where we conceded the goal. That second phase, Dudley moves, chases after Reynolds. That means they have stretched the centre back, who comes in and slots into the centre back and makes it as if the centre back has not left. And for me, that's the part that was missing in our defensive moment there, because Matt or Tabocele were meant to be the two players who are meant to cover Dudley's position. And Matt and Tabocele failed to recover that position. And yes, we conceded a goal. It was a good goal, but I think if someone covered Dudley's position, then Ribeiro never gets the ball. So that's what I will give them. Dudley, I'm going to give 6.5. Miguel also 6.5. He didn't really do much wrong. I can't really fault people when they didn't do much wrong. Frosler, same story, 6.5. Also had a decent game. Can't really fault him for the goal. Unfortunately, it's just how Sundowns pulled us apart in that moment, even though it was very predictable. I think I've highlighted in the previous one. Maybe I must just do a video showing it in the graphics how it was done. But anyway, the Tabocele, I'm going to give a 7.5. I think Tabocele was meant to be man of the match, even though he even got a yellow card early in the game. But he still, for me, was the best player on the park. I'm talking about me. I think Tabocele was the best player on the park. I think he was way better than Allende, but when you lose, you don't get man of the match, apparently, in South Africa. So it's something I still sometimes question a lot, that maybe I must just go to the rule books, that if a team loses, that team's the player, if the best player of the match is in the losing team, then that best player does not get the man of the match award. It's an interesting thing, but yeah. So Tabocele for me dominated. The boy was very good. You know, the one thing that tells you how good a player is, and we haven't had this in a long time, it's when the people who press you start to fear pressing you. And that's what happened with Tabocele. They tried very early in the game to press him, and it didn't result. He got past those people who were pressing him, and they started being scared to press him. So they didn't press him anymore, because there was a moment where Ribeiro tried to press him, thinking he's going to get the ball, and he turned to Ribeiro, and his Sundowns was now, what can I say, the formation was a bit broken, because now Tabocele had access to the midfield. And in that moment, I don't know if it was an instruction or whatever, because after that, Allende, Ribeiro, Tebogo Mokoena, all these guys, they stopped pressing Tabocele. Tabocele was actually, for me personally, was even outdoing Tebogo Mokoena in moments. But the one thing that's very crazy about this moment is when you think about how many people Tabocele was taking on in that midfield alone. He was taking on Tebogo Mokoena, he was taking on Allende, he was taking on Ribeiro. Those guys were the ones who were trying to close him down, but somehow he was finding ways to unlock the defense. And it was in that moment you could see that Thabo Cele is doing so well, but he doesn't have the support from the other midfielder who is next to him. The other midfielder is failing to do what he's able to do. So you're like, if we had two Thabo Celes, I was like, yo, then imagine what could happen in this midfield, because Jaden Adams was gone. Thabo Cele was controlling, bossing the midfield. And when you think about, when I was watching this game and I realized that Hugo Bros is watching over the game, I was like, Hugo Bros may actually select Thabo Cele for the national team based on how he was handling. He was handling Bafana midfielders. He was handling Allende, was I think the second most expensive player in the league. He was handling Ribeiro. He was handling all these star players, one man. And a lot of you are going to say Matt played well. Let's get to Matt. Yes, the thing about Matt, and I've said this before, Matt will do the right things, but it doesn't benefit the team. What do I mean? I'm like, it used to be like the days when we had Bernard Parker. We had Bernard Parker, hard working rate. He was playing in the midfield, hard work rate. He's challenging people. He never gives up and all of those things. But when he gets the ball, etc., there is no output that benefits us as a midfielder. He didn't benefit us going forward. You can't really, he's out of position. There was all these midfield basics that were missing from Bernard Parker's game, and that's the same thing you experience from Matt. Matt is out of position. He's not availing himself. When he does get the ball, he passes backwards, he passes sideways, and you see the difference between Thabo Cele, who joined Chiefs, and a Matt who's been at Chiefs for 3 years. The things Thabo Cele is doing since he joined Chiefs a few months ago is like by 4 years ahead of what Matt is doing. And the things that you cannot teach Matt how to play in midfield position, the way Thabo Cele is playing. And especially because Matt and Thabo Cele were playing double pivot. So if Thabo Cele is playing on one side of the midfield and Matt is playing on the other side, if Matt's side does not function, then it's not going to work. Like, we're not going to function on that side. So it was that was our game. That was unfortunately that game, and you can't really blame Nabi. The only thing I think Nabi needs to start looking into to solve this, and he needs to try it early, because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. If he's not happy with the current squad, please go look in the development. Look at those boys in development and bring them into training and slot them into that mad position and see what they can do when they have the guidance of Thabo Cele there. Just see what they can do. Maybe even if we get to Ox Mthethwa back, it will even be better when we add Ox Mthethwa to protect that youngster you're going to put in there. But anyway, so Matt, I'm just going to give a 5 to 5.5. And then Du Shabalala, good energy, good movement, but end result not there. 5 to 5.5. Lollipop, good 2 moments in the game. First half, then he just disappeared. Lollipop, 5.5. Modi, good movement sometimes, but didn't really do anything. So also him, 5.5. Morris got injured, not going to give him a rating. Dupree, I'm going to give him a 5. I would want to give him less, but there's a reason why they didn't start him in this game. Match fitness. The fact that he went on, he stayed in the match for so long was actually a good thing on him. Good to get those minutes. But you could tell there's a lot of things he's doing that he does not have match fitness for. Like first touch was not able to do a first touch. He was just losing the ball very carelessly. It was like his mind was trying to do, his body was trying to do something his mind is struggling to keep up with, or his mind knew what to do, but his body just couldn't meet him there at the same time. But yeah, other than that, I won't even talk about Abo Blom. Abo Blom didn't really change the game for us. I don't get the Solomon substitution. It was one that was confusing me, Because for me at that point, I was like, okay, Lollipop looks like he's getting tired. He's no longer effective in the game. When they brought in Solomons, I was like, okay, if we bring Solomons, let's maybe bring Solomons in as an attacker. Let's use our pace. Maybe put Solomons on the right, put Mfundo Vilagazi in Mdu Shabalala's number 10 position to give Mdu Shabalala a break. And do switch it up a bit that way. I didn't know, because I didn't feel the effectiveness of Lollipop. And maybe keep Mdu Shabalala on the left for a bit while longer. Play something along those lines. But yeah, it just and obviously to pre-play him until as long as you can, and then eventually I saw you brought in Ranga. Ranga is not my favorite player at the moment, but yeah, I think he was the only attacking option at that point. So that's what I was expecting, but obviously that's me. Nabi thought taking out Frosler and adding Solomons will benefit him in the game, but I don't think we had a problem defensively, and I don't think we were meant to be focusing on making Frosler go up and attack. The person we were meant to be focusing on is getting Tiwani to experience another fast player, because Lollipop was finishing Tiwani in the first half until he struggled. We needed a Solomons or someone to try to do the same thing in the second half. But other than that, that was the game. And I have addressed the criticism, so I'll take it. I know a lot of you say maybe it's harsh criticism, but I feel like it's fair criticism, because if you carry on accepting mediocre performances that don't bring in results, you'll end up becoming a supporter that's all about good moments. And good moments have relegated teams. Like, good play with no results have eliminated teams. I've always said this. There was a season where Jomo Cosmos got eliminated. It was way back in the days that I was watching. And they were playing the most beautiful football. Like, I remember a game where Chiefs even beat them 1-0, but they dominated us. They dominated the heck out of us. But they got relegated with that beautiful football, because that beautiful football did not end in results. It's the same thing that always gets Dan Malisela fired all the time. His teams play good football with no result, and that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of a coach who does things that look good, but they don't produce results. And a coach like that scares me the most, because he satisfies the eye of the eye. He satisfies you to the eye, but his results are never coming. And that's my problem. And a lot of you are going to say, yeah, but the quality of the players. Look, guys, this is the truth. Our players, we cannot say our players are not better than Polokwane City players, Magesi players. Our players are 100% not a top 10 players. They are top 6 at worst. They are top 6 players. So, in saying that, that means that the coach needs to do something. I hear people saying, but the coach can't come into the field and teach Mdu Shabalala. But one thing I'm going to tell you is, Mdu Shabalala, the shot he took against Sundowns, he's been taking the same shot since the beginning of the season. This first-time shot he's been struggling with it since the beginning of the season. If you go back to the Amazulu game, Mdu Shabalala took that same shot, that first-time shot, and it didn't give him results. And he keeps doing it again and 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 again. And I'm saying, why is it not being advised? Matt took this exact same shot against SuperSport United. People want to compare these guys, Matt, Mdu Shabalala, and all these people, to Serino. Serino is not of the same quality. Serino can take that first-time shot. These guys need to take a second touch. Ribeiro, as good as Ribeiro is, he had to take a second touch to make sure he steadies himself. But our players, we need a coach who's going to make them take that second touch. Don't just hit on a shot when you have time. Make sure, and that's what I need from our players. This thing of rushing chances and all of those things, those are coaching elements. And I don't like this thing of saying, people forcing us to accept that if Mdu Shabalala is a player who takes a first-time shot, that means for the rest of his career, he's going to be a player who takes a first-time shot and the coach cannot intervene. No, I don't believe in such things. Coaching is about showing you where you're going wrong and putting together exercises and training sessions that are going to better you, because you are one of the better players. There are certain players that you cannot coach at this moment, and those players you cannot coach is a player like Modi. He's already in his 30s. You cannot really coach him. He's set in his ways. Potsani, you cannot really coach him. These players that are above 30, you can't really coach them. You can only find them positions that can make them express themselves a bit better, but you cannot coach them. That's why I keep saying there's certain positions you cannot now coach. But Shabalala is only like 2021. This is something you can coach him. When Duba comes into the team and he makes the same mistake, you cannot say you can't coach it. You can coach it. So that's all I'm saying. There's certain things you can coach in a player, and you can put training sessions. And those players will, if you do it again and again and again and again in training, eventually you will start doing the thing the right way. Amakhosi.